Date 27th October 1962. Location in a submarine near Cuba. Arkhipov was in a Soviet submarine B-59. His crew was unable to make contact with Moscow, and suddenly they started hearing blasts of depth charges around them. These are bombs dropped into water to destroy submarines. The officers in the submarine thought that World War III has just begun. These depth charges were dropped by US forces to encourage Soviet submarines to come out. They were blank charges and the Soviets on the ground were already aware of them. But this submarine was unable to make contact with them. And the most dangerous detail that the US forces were unaware of was that the submarine carried a 10 kiloton nuclear torpedo. And above all this, the officers had the permission to launch it without waiting for approval from Moscow. 2 out of the 3 vessels' senior officer wanted to launch the missile, but they were calmed down by Arkhipov. The torpedo was never fired. If it had been launched, the fate of the whole world would have changed. Vasily Arkhipov saved the world by using his brain at the right time. The mental model apt for this situation is Hanlon's razor, a philosophical razor which helps us to shave away wrong presumptions. In this video, we will talk about this model using real-life, day-to-day examples, and then we will discuss about its applications as well as limitations. Let's get started. Hanlon's razor mental model can be summarized by this statement. Never attribute to malice that which can be adequately explained by stupidity or neglect. Malice means the desire to harm someone. In simple words, all people are not your enemies. This mental model is a corollary of a very famous mental model called Occam's razor, which states that entities should not be multiplied without necessity. Let me give you an example. You open your door and see that the street in front of you is wet. What will you assume as the reason behind it? It was raining previously. Somebody wanted you to fall on the wet surface, so they spilled water. Or aliens were flying above your home and they were trying to aim at your house with their water guns. Please comment your favorite reason in the comment box below. I'd love to hear about it. Now, what this implies is that the simplest explanation with the least amount of variables is generally true. This further implies that if people are doing something which can be clearly explained as a mistake, don't unnecessarily complicate things and assume that they want to harm you. The world around us is never black and white or binary. Most people are instant in their judgments. They immediately categorize things as good or bad, true or false. But the smart leaders among us know that the world is 50 shades of grey. Using this razor helps us to delay jumping to conclusions until we come to know about all the relevant facts. Using this one single model will get you labeled as a genius, at least by the definition of F. Scott Fitzgerald, which says that the test of a first-rate mind is the ability to hold 2 opposing thoughts at the same time while still retaining the ability to function. This helps us to avoid becoming the victim of 2 cognitive biases: the confirmation bias and fundamental attribution error. Confirmation bias states that we have a tendency to search for, interpret, favor, and recall information that confirms or supports our prior personal beliefs. If you start by believing that the people are your enemy, then they will look like enemies. And the fundamental attribution error states that we assume that a person's actions depends on their personality rather than on the social and environmental forces that influence the person. If an unknown person behaves rudely with you on one single occasion, it doesn't mean that they inherently hate you. There might be a possibility that they faced some bad event prior to meeting you. Hanlon's razor suggests you to give the other person the benefit of doubt and try to interpret negative situations with the most respectful interpretation, or MRI. Let's see a few day-to-day scenarios and their MRIs. You apply for a job and don't get a reply even after a few days. Normal assumption: you are not good enough. MRI: maybe they are busy right now, or they are not even looking for a new employee. The waiter spills coffee on your shirt. Normal assumptions: they are jealous of your shirt. MRI: it's an accident, as nobody in their right minds is jealous of people's shirt. You type a long message and all you got in reply was an okay. Normally, we would assume that the other person is not interested in talking to you. In India, we call these people as Bade Log. The MRI of this situation will be probably they are busy and will revert back to you later. An exception to this MRI are these type of conversations. In general, people do stupid actions as we have the tendency to follow the path of least resistance. And more often than not, they are not even aware of the fact that they are bothering you. So, it's better to interpret the situation in context of neglect or stupidity rather than intent to hurt. This can be linked to second order thinking. In this case, you are avoiding your direct assumptions and thinking about other people's action from a holistic point of view. If you are interested in second order thinking, you can watch my video on that topic after this video. Here's the link. The only caveat of this philosophical razor is Maslow's hammer. What's that? Is it related to Thor? No. Maslow's hammer states that to a man with a hammer, everything looks like a nail. If you like this mental model so much that you apply it to every negative encounter, then it will harm you in multiple ways. So what you should do is to try to figure out the actual probability of the other person being your enemy. And trust me, it will always be less than the number you get without coming across Hanlon's razor. If the probability is high, then treat the situation as a threat. This is covered by Gray's law, which states any sufficiently advanced incompetence is indistinguishable from malice. In simple words, if you can't find any sign of stupidity in the received message, it might really be malice. So, the moral of the story is never attribute to bad intentions that which is adequately explained by other causes. Nobody is out there to get you. Don't be quick in judging people. The world is not black and white. It's 50 shades of grey. And last but not the least, this channel will help you take your thinking skills to the next level. So subscribe right now and press the bell icon to make sure that you never miss any videos. If you found this video interesting and useful, please give us a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family so that we can avoid another world war. Thanks for watching. We'll meet again in the next video with some other interesting information. Till then, bye bye, take care.